You've got to be system driven, not personality driven. You can't be winging it. You've got to be system driven. And systems is an acronym. And it stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money. Well, if you give the people an opportunity to build a company within a company, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go out there and build a huge organization. People are going to stick around and people want to be a part of something bigger than them. People want to be in a place where they feel that they are growing financially, where they are growing professionally, and where they're growing as a person. There's an old saying that says, people will work for money, but people will die for recognition. People are dying to get recognized. As a leadership, from a leadership standpoint, you've got to recognize people for their hard work. You've got to recognize people for their efforts, right? So recognition and promotions should be done evenly and fairly across your organization. And one of the first things about being a good leader is that a leader leads. A leader leads by example. A leader says, let's go do it, not you go do it. Hey guys, welcome to the DNG podcast. I'm your host, as always, JC Rangel. And today I'm going to talk about building a huge sales organization. You know, I've been involved for over 20 years in the direct sales network marketing world, and I've built some pretty big organizations over the years. And as a matter of fact, the biggest organization that I've ever built is 120,000 people worldwide in a network marketing company. Prior to that, I built some teams of over 30,000 and 20,000. So building sales organizations is something that I have a lot of experience with. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. We're going to talk about how and what are the keys to building a big sales organization. You know, there's insurance agencies, there's real estate brokerages, there are solar companies, home security companies, whatever the case may be, many companies out there that have sales forces, and most of them want to grow their sales organization. But there are some fundamental things that they are doing wrong, and that's why they don't really scale, right? That's why you'll see, you know, I have a solar business, right? And you'll see a traditional solar dealer, they've got the same 10, 15, 20 guys. A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they had 10, 15, 20 guys. They have right around the same thing. It's a big revolving door. They never really grow. They plateau at a certain point. Why is that? I'm going to get into here why. There's, again, as I mentioned, there's some fundamental differences in some of the things they just don't want to change. I'm going to get into why that is as well. So anyways, the first step to building a huge sales organization is that you have to have a vision that you as a company owner or as a leader of some sort with that company have bought into, but it's got to be a huge vision that's big enough for other people to fit their vision inside of your vision, right? I'll give you an example. The company that I have a franchise with in the solar business is a company that has a vision to sell 2 million, to help 2 million homeowners in the next decade go solar and to pay $2 billion in commissions. Here's the deal. I could fit my vision inside of that vision. It's a big enough vision for big thinkers to guess what? To fit their vision inside of that vision. You know, there's an old saying that says, if you set the bar high, you lose the losers. If you set the bar low, you lose the winners. So you've got to have enough vision. Sometimes you've got a small company that they wonder how come they don't attract some big hitters, or how come when people become big hitters, they don't stick around. And the reason why is because their vision is too small for a big hitter to stick around or to be attracted to that organization. The second one that you want to look at is the culture of the company. You've got to create a culture that is conducive to what you want to attract. Some companies I see out there, they have a culture that is too relaxed. There's no goals. People aren't doing sales and they're just hovering around the office or whatever the case may be. And then there's some companies that they run a tight ship. They have a culture of, hey, guess what? We're here to close business. We're not here to mingle. We're here to close business. We're not here to make friends. We're here to close business, right? There's some coaches out there that rely on, hey, team building and sales. Some people only rely on sales. The culture that you build within your organization is going to make a big impact as to the type of leader that you're going to attract into your organization. The next step is step number 3, which is people growth. Here's the bottom line. People are going to stick around and people want to be a part of something bigger than them. People want to be in a place where they feel that they are growing financially, where they are growing professionally, and where they're growing as a person. I have a saying that I learned a long time ago, and it's very simple. I've always said, We do not use people to build the company. We use a company to build people. Our company is a personal development vehicle with a compensation plan. In addition to having a light at the end of the tunnel, in addition to having a passive residual income, in addition to being an owner, which is part of the culture, in addition to being an owner of your own company within a company, guess what? We have a culture and we have a system where it's a team building business. We train on the personal development. We train on the sales. We train on the closing. We train on the recruiting, on the leadership skills, on the public speaking skills. And people not only see their skills improving, but they see their bank account improving. They feel better in themselves. And guess what? Being a part of this company, not only am I making great money, not only do I feel fulfilled financially, but I also feel fulfilled personally because I can feel the growth that's happening by me being a part of this organization. So you've got to provide a system, an environment where people are growing in all these areas. This next one is probably the most important of them all. And if it's not the most important, it's in the top 2 by far. You have to understand that the comp plan drives behavior. This is the number one reason why sales organizations do not build. And in my opinion, it makes the most sense, but guess what? To most people, this is the number one thing that they're not willing to change. The rest of the stuff is easier. The stuff that I've talked about up to this point is easier to adapt to, but this part, a lot of owners of companies, a lot of the leadership in companies don't want to apply. The reason why is because it affects their bottom dollar initially, but what they don't realize is that it'll make them significantly more money in the future, and that is this. Comp plan drives behavior. Comp plan, the way you pay your people is going to drive their behavior, and it's going to drive the type of person that you attract in your business. Let me give you an example. 3 companies. You've got eXp Realty, fastest growing real estate company in the world. They're only about 12 years old, yet they're smoking Century 21, Remax Prudential, all of these big, Keller Williams, all of these big companies that you've heard of. I wonder why. I'm going to get into it. Life insurance. Primerica, smoking everybody. Powur for the solar industry. The number 1 fastest growing solar company on planet Earth. Inc. 5000, number 61 for the year 2021. What do these 3 companies have in common? One of them being real estate, the other one being insurance, the other one being solar. What do they all have in common? They all give their people an equal opportunity. They all give their people the opportunity to build a company within a company, right? So here's what I'm referring to. The traditional sales company works like this. You go, let's say it's a real estate company. The real estate agent goes to the broker. They negotiate a contract. Hey, this is between me and you. I've got 10 years experience. I've got 20 years experience. Here's what I've done. How much money can you offer me? What is my split? What is my commission split? Then they'll agree 70, 80, 90%. Sometimes some ridiculous number like 95%. Sometimes they claim 100% commission. You just pay like a processing fee. That's a real estate world. Guess what? eXp comes and says, we're not doing it that way. We're going to pay everybody 80%. Now, with the rest, the other 20%, what we're going to do is we're going to split that up into 7 levels deep. We're going to give you the opportunity to build a team if you choose to build a team. That is optional. Now, before some of you guys come out and say, oh, he's talking about an MLM. No. In an MLM, you get paid to recruit. Neither of these companies pay you to recruit. They pay you overrides on a team, but guess what? That's the case in most sales organizations. So here's what happens. Primerica, similar situation. Powur Energy. I happen to be the number 1 mentor, the number 1 recruiter, the number 1 guy in that company. 6,000 active people. I'm the number 1 guy in that company. Guess what? The reason why I came to this company is because I said I could build a company within a company. So remember when I mentioned comp plan drives behavior? Well, if you give the people an opportunity to build a company within a company, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go out there and build a huge organization. That is why Powur, for example, has 6,000 active reps. They're growing by reps by way more than everybody else. They're growing by new sales way more than anybody else. They're growing by installs by way more than everybody else. Why is that? Because comp plan drives behavior. Because in another solar company, for example, here's what happens. You've got a solar guy that if he brings out his buddy to sell solar, he may be offered an override, he may not be offered an override. If it's a decent company, they're going to offer him an override. But here's what happens. You've got the owner of the company that pays this guy a commission. In order for this guy to make an override on the buddy he brought, he has to pay him a smaller commission. And if that guy brings somebody on board, he has to pay his guy a smaller commission. Eventually, it dwindles down to basically nothing. So what happens? Those people end up leaving to another company. And this is a big problem. That is why, for those of you guys that are familiar with the dealer model, the home security dealer model, the solar dealer model, or other dealer models like that, you'll notice that it's the same amount of people that they have today. They had the same amount of people a year ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago. Why do they not grow? Because it is not an equal opportunity. They've got the good old boys club. Here's a good old boys club. I'm the owner of the company. I bring on my buddy Mike. I bring on my buddy Jay. Hey, come on, I'm going to pay you guys the highest commission splits. That way you guys can go out there and recruit a couple folks. You pay them a smaller commission. You earn an override. So what do? They're sitting pretty. They go out there and recruit some people. They make a nice split. Those guys go out, again, as we mentioned earlier, bring some people on board, introduce people to the company to work for the company. There's like 5 people above them that are making a fraction of the action, right? They're making a piece of every sale that they do. It is not an equal opportunity. So guess what? Eventually you train your competition. This happens in real estate all the time. Somebody takes a brand new guy in real estate, teaches them the ropes. 10 years later, the guy says, you know what, man? I'm a seasoned veteran. I'm going to go open up my own office and I'm going to open up my own real estate company. And what do? You just train your competition. And this happens in the insurance world. This happens in real estate. This happens in solar. This happens everywhere. But if you create an equal compensation plan that pays everybody the same, the rules are the same for everybody to advance. It isn't this favoritism. It isn't this politics, which happens a lot in sales. Oh, because I know you and we're buddies and I like you right now, you're going to get the privilege on getting these management positions, or you're going to get the privilege of making these bigger commissions, or whatever the case may be. You've got to create a comp plan that is equal for everybody. That's why I say it's got to be an equal compensation plan. It's got to be an equal opportunity, right? So for example, as I mentioned, EXP. 80% commission to everybody. Once you have contributed a certain amount to the company, they move you on 100% commission to the end of the year. Guess what? You and the owner's cousin are on the same boat. They get paid 7 levels deep if you choose to build a team. How you qualify to get paid for those 7 levels is exactly the same for the first guy as the last guy. Company that I work with, right? We have the fastest growing team in the entire company, the fastest growing solar company in America, in the world. We have the fastest growing team. We've got people kicking more ass than any other company. How did that happen? The reason why that happened is because they have an equal opportunity. They say simple, you get wholesale price, and they have the best wholesale out there. So here's what happens. As they have wholesale price, whatever we sell above wholesale, 70% we keep. Everybody's in the same comp plan. Out of the company's 30% that they keep, so 70-30 split, company keeps 30, half of that they pay in a 6-level override compensation plan. Everybody's on the same comp plan. So what does that do? It drives a behavior of what? It drives a behavior and it attracts the people that want to build a sales organization. The guys and girls that just want to sell solar, they may or may not come, even though a lot of people do come. Why? Because they pay the highest commissions. Now, why can they pay 6 levels deep plus the highest commissions? Because everybody pays a membership fee, $49 a month. So the company has thousands of people that are paying $50 a month, $49 a month. So therefore they say, hey, we have a Costco model. We don't care to make a lot on a deal. We care to make a little bit on a deal, but we have a bunch of people on the membership, and the membership base continues to grow. Again, compensation drives behavior, right? So that creates a behavior of us saying, hey, we're going to go out there and introduce a lot of people, and we're going to train them. Because guess what? If I bring some people on board and I train them to sell as much as I did, last year I was the number one recruiter. I out-recruited everybody, and I outsold everybody out of 6,000 people. So guess what? If I go out there and I introduce some people, I recruit some people, I train these people, it's in my best interest to train them to get as good or better than I am, because guess what? I make that override. Now, what if I was in a traditional company where I'm a regional manager, right? Where I'm a national manager and you're a regional manager. If I get you to national manager, my override is gone. That doesn't work. Comp plan drives behavior. Now the behavior of the people that are above say, there's no way I'm going to get this guy promoted. That's how corporate America works as well. If I get this guy promoted, I lose my override. My income goes down. Or I lose my job. If that guy gets promoted to my position, what do they need me for? No way. The comp plan has to be an equal opportunity. Companies pay me $10,000 for consulting for them to show them how to create a compensation plan and a system that is built for growth, right? I don't take a lot of clients, these days because I'm busy building my business, but when they do, that's what I charge them. Why? Because I show them this is how you're going to grow a huge sales organization. You have to do it this way. If not, you're going to plateau. You're very limited to what you can do if you don't have the right keys in place. Okay, so now that you got the part that is, again, as I mentioned, probably the most important part, here's the next step. You've got to be system driven, not personality driven. You can't be winging it. You've got to be system driven. And systems is an acronym. It stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money. So for example, our company has a system, but we, as the fastest growing team, there's a reason why we're the fastest growing team and we've got more people making more money, and most of them come as brand new people. By the way, those things that I did last year was my first year as a solar rookie. That was my first full year. I started April 2020 in the solar industry. In 2021, there's a bunch of 5-year, 7-year, 12-year veterans in the company. How did I outproduce all of them my first full-time year? It's not because I'm anything special. I think I'm pretty decent, but it's not because I'm anything special. It's because I understand these fundamentals. And it's because a company had that comp plan in place. Remember, comp plan drives behavior. So anyways, in order to make that work and to grow and give your people the best opportunity to grow a company within a company, we've already established that, you've got to have a duplicatable system in place. It's got to be a system where a dud can recruit a stud. It's got to be a system where you can take a dud, train them on the proper training system in a duplicatable fashion where all of the companies doing basically the same presentation. It may vary a little bit because everybody has a different style, but for the most part, it's duplicatable. I'll give you an example. Part of our system is when somebody's brand new, we have the university training. I have my own training academy. We have the training calls. We have the schedules, everything. But the person has to do 3 50-50 split sales with a closer. We call it a mentor. In my organization, I don't allow for the mentors to be doing different kinds of presentations. If we're going to have our sales organization giving you leads and you're going to close those leads at a 50-50 split sale, which the average commission is $7,000, I've got mentors that close up to 5 deals in a day at a $3,500 pop. Do the math, 3,500 times 5 in a day via Zoom. Tremendous opportunity. So here's what happens. I cannot have a new guy that goes to this guy, Johnny. Johnny does a certain type of presentation, but then for his second sale, he goes to Jay. Jay does a completely different presentation. Then he goes to me and I do a completely different presentation. Now the guy learned 3 different presentations. That doesn't create duplication. So what we do is we create a duplicatable system. Here's a system that works. Here's a way that you sell a project. And we only assign our closers, which again, we call mentors, to help these people close those sales. So now the mentor's happy because they're getting, when they become a mentor after 8 sales, they're getting a bunch of leads, right? That they're happily closing at a 50% commission. And all they got to do is follow a system that is proven. Think about this. When you enter, let's look at a McDonald's, right? Does McDonald's have the best burgers? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, they're poison, right? They're not the best burgers. They're not the best tasting burgers, and they're certainly not good for you. But why do they sell more burgers than anybody else? The reason why they sell more burgers than anybody else is because they are a system-driven business. If you walk to a McDonald's, I haven't been to a McDonald's in about 15 years. If you walk to a McDonald's though, you walk in, if they have those games, right, the little play section, they have it usually in the front, right, where it's visible. But when you walk in, you got the counter. Then you got the person taking the order. To the left, you've got the drive-thru. Right next to the drive-thru is a fry machine. Then over here to the right, you've got the sodas and the McFlurry machine. And then they serve Coke. They don't serve Pepsi. The Big Macs are in a box. The fish burgers are in blue. The cheeseburgers are in yellow. And that is the same anywhere in the world. And you've got 16-year-old kids successfully running a $1 billion franchise. Why? Systems. You've got to have systems that are easily duplicatable. And if you want to grow that big organization, you got to have the sales process that's duplicatable, and you've got to have the recruiting process that's duplicatable. Remember, we already established you've got to give your people an equal opportunity where they build a company within a company. And then they go out there and The leadership is developed. The sales abilities and the recruiting is developed. So guess what? The presentations for recruiting have to be the same, right? You've got to be on a schedule. We have webinars that are on a schedule. We've got the authorized pre-recorded presentations. We've got the ads. We've got everything that is a system-driven business in order for people to be successful. The next one is leadership. Here's the deal. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. I have my personal opinions about this country right now. Inflation is at an all-time high. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that are going on. Leadership. This happened when leadership switched. It's a bottom line. I don't mean to get political on you guys, but it's a perfect example. If a lot of my viewers are in America, you see what's happening. You see where gas prices, you see where food shortages, you see where everything is going on. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So in order for you to build a huge sales organization, you've got to have the right leadership. And here's the deal. People will only follow other people who they perceive to be better and bigger leaders than they are. If you are a level 5 leader, you are going to attract 2s, 3s, and 4s, and 1s. But if you want to attract level 8, 9, and 10 leaders, what do you think you should become? A level 10 leader. And guess what? The good thing about it is that you could learn how to become a good leader. And one of the first things about being a good leader is that a leader leads. A leader leads by example. A leader says, let's go do it, not you go do it. Right? A leader puts his people first. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips right now that are quick tips, right? In order for you to be a better leader and to attract a higher quality person and also duplicate and develop higher quality leaders. So tip number 1, you've got to have a dream bigger than those you lead. I'll give you an example. I often mention to people what the company's goals are as a whole, and I mention what my goals are. I tell my guys, and this is a true statement, you give me a lie detector test, I'm going to pass it. I say, listen, I don't know what your goals are. After we talk about the goals, then I share my goals, right? So, but before I meet them, very often you'll hear me say the line, I don't know what your goals are, but let me share with you a little bit of what my goals are, because I want you to understand the type of opportunity that you've got here with us. So I mentioned my goal in 5 years is to be worth 200 million and to be making $1 million a month. My goal is $1 million a month passive income. I don't have to show up to my home office, I have a big office training room. I'm hardly ever there. I work out of my home office. I show up to the office maybe once or twice a week. But my goal in 5 years is 200 million and $1 million a month passive income. That's my goal. A lot of people can fit their goals, their dreams inside of that. They say, hey, that fits. Okay, if this guy's goals are like that, and guess what though? Here's the deal. You have to understand this, man. This is so key in sales. Facts tell, stories sell. Facts tell, stories sell. We are the EXP Realty equivalent of the solar industry. For those of you that may not know, you can look into it, you'll see what I'm talking about. EXP Realty has people making $1 million a month passive income. It's a 80-20 split real estate company. The other 20%, a percentage of that, I think it's half of that or more than half of that, they pay in override income 7 levels deep. I know a guy personally that started in 2014. 2014, the guy's worth over 200 million right now, makes $250,000 a month passive income. The overrides on that company are basically identical to the overrides on us. The difference, they pay 7 levels, we pay 6. But the barrier of entry for us, the barrier of entry for solar is almost non-existent. There's no license that you need to get. There's no state exam. There's 50 agents to 1 solar pro. A realtor, for example, is looking for people that want to buy and sell. We're looking for people with an electric bill over $100. There's 90 million people in America that qualify, 90 million homes in America that qualify for zero down solar, and about 3 million have got it. So there's 87 million people to help just on solar, not including the roofs and the windows and all this other stuff, right? The point is, I sell the vision. I sell the vision and I believe the vision. I am sold out myself. Enthusiasm. It ends with ISM. I am sold myself. In order for you to build a huge sales organization, you've got to be sold because you're selling your opportunity. You've got to be sold on your opportunity yourself. So I already know these numbers. I know these scripts, but you know. So I have a big dream because I see the potential. So I have a big enough dream that fits a bunch of other people's dreams in it. That's tip number one as a leader. You've got to have a bigger dream, a big enough dream to fit a lot of people's dreams in it. The next tip on leadership is that a leader has a superior attitude to those that he leads. A leader and a winner is having a great day no matter what. My team knows, if I call you and I say, what's up? And you tell me, nothing, getting by, oh, another day, I will, before you're done saying what you're saying, I already hung up on you. Because here's my question, can you afford for nothing to be up? I have a great day no matter what. And if I'm not having the best day, you're not going to notice it. You know why? Because winners have a great day no matter what. Winners have a better attitude than those that they lead. And then when you have that vision and you know where you're going, people will be afraid not to follow you. Not only that, that also makes it hard for you not to have a great attitude. It's not to say that you're not going to have bad things that happen in your life, challenges that happen, of course. That's a part of the business. But one of the things in the leadership that you have to understand, not only leadership but personal growth, is this: quit wanting what you don't want. You don't want to not have problems. You have to understand it. You have to teach your people this, which we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Guess what? We get paid based on the size of the problems that we solve. This is one of the things that I say the most in my trainings. Quit wanting what you don't want. If you worked at the grocery store and you were the bag boy and your job was to put, the cans on the bottom and the bread on the top so the bread doesn't get squished, you solved the small problem. How much money does that problem pay? Minimum wage. We get big problems to get big checks. When we get the checks, the bank bounces. Guess what? I want to have these problems because I get paid based on the size of the problem that I solve. Integrity and character is the next tip. That should go without saying, right? Not only integrity and character with your customers, of course. Do the right thing for your customer. Put the customer first. I've had people that I've told, listen, solar's not the right option for you. As much as you want it, as much as I want to sell you solar doesn't make sense for you for whatever the case may be. And because I'm honest with them, I've had customers tell me, you know what, man, I like you. There was another guy that was telling me that solar was right for me, and he was trying to sell me, and I told him that I had to get multiple proposals because that's just how I am, and you're telling me that it's not right for me. I have my doubts. Now you've confirmed them. I'm going to refer my brother to you so he could go solar with you. And I've gotten referrals like that. That should go without saying. So integrity, honor for your customers, for your sales organization, for yourself, and for colleagues. Give you guys an example, man. I've mentioned this before. I'm a part of a couple of solar groups ever since I got involved in the solar industry. And one of the things I notice is this. These traditional companies that I mentioned here today that are struggling to grow, they have the same 10 guys, 15 guys, and they run them to the ground. Because there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no sustainable passive income. There's no way for them to get to a position where they can get fed leads the way that we do. We get people to a certain position, then we start giving them leads to close 50-50 split sales, and they still make more on that 50% than they would for another company at a full pop commission. They're building a passive income 6 levels deep, and we train them and develop these people on how to be leaders, how to be public speakers, how to be better salespeople, personal growth, all this other stuff, right? So a lot of these companies, I noticed when I got into those groups in 2020, literally, no exaggeration, every other day they would talk bad about the company, about our company. And they would talk bad about it because they were very insecure about our business model because we're the fastest growing company. So guess what? We're recruiting a lot of solar pros. A lot of these solar pros came from those companies. So a lot of these people, not all of them, but a lot of these people were very bitter. A lot of people are leaving to our company, right? And they're fault finders. Here's the bottom line. You're going to have problems with any company. Any company, you're going to have problems. This is whether it's real estate, solar, whatever the case may be. So they would focus on our problems, and every day or every other day, somebody would go in the group and start talking bad about our company. And one day I said, you know what? Enough is enough. They had no integrity. That's why they couldn't keep their people. So I started going in there and putting them in their place. And I said, the best way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to create a video, right, that is going to explain the differences between Powur and these traditional solar companies. And I said, I issued a public challenge. I said, I will bet anybody on here, $10,000, okay, 10 G's. You put 10 of your guys, I'll put 10 of my guys on a Zoom. You go first. You present why people should work for your company. You tell them everything you offer. Open up people's, checks if you want. Show them how much money your people are making. You pitch them first. I got 10 of my guys, you got 10 of your guys. And I would say, if you want to put 20, 40, 50, or 100, tell me. I'll match the number. chances are you don't have that many. I issued this public challenge. By the way, there's thousands of people in these groups. Okay, I issued, and I literally had the message copy and paste. I would just copy and paste a message. Then I would put the video that I made, explaining the differences between our company and another company, where I show them these things. Where I show them how last year I closed 117 deals part-time in my underwear from home, while they got their guys baking in the sun, knocking on doors until they burn out 18 months later. I simply express these things. Some of their guys are like, yeah, I've been with this company almost 3 years strong, man. And the guy, his name should be Tanner, right? Because that dude had been in the sun so much, he was super tan, right? And he didn't look like no damn Tanner, right? He was a Mexican guy. There ain't no Mexican guys named Tanner, man, all right? So anyways, I say, your name should be Tanner, bro, because I could tell that you are in the sun. You're hitting the pavement. But the guy that brought you in, he's in his office with AC, comfortable, while you are out there hitting the field making him money. That is not an equal opportunity. You're making his checks. He goes, picks up his kids at 3 p.m. You're barely hitting the field at that time. You're out there because guess what? You'll never have the opportunity that guy has. So I started issuing these challenges. I probably issued it to over a dozen people that own their own company. Ask me how many people accepted that challenge till this day. I've been doing it for 2 years. Not one. No, not one. Not one accepted it. So they will talk a lot. Guess what? As of right now, they hardly ever talk about it. And I literally said these words. There's a new sheriff in town in these groups. Every time you guys open your mouth to say something negative, because they've got no integrity, they've got no honor, even for themselves, because when they do that, they're exposing the character of themselves, right? So I would go and I said, there's a new sheriff in town. I'm going to put you bums in your place. And I would just share the video. And I say, every time you guys talk bad, you guys draw attention, unwanted attention to yourselves. Then I come in and I defend my company by simply stating the truth, posting this video that shows the differences. Then I recruit 1 or 2 of your guys. Then I recruit 1 or 2 because our company is nationwide. Then I keep recruiting these guys. So thank you, dummies. Guess what? You've got to have integrity. You've got to have good character with your customers, with your sales organization, and with the other professionals, your colleagues in the same industry. The next one is that you got to make a commitment to personal growth. You've got to make a commitment to personal growth. That is a part of our system. Not only that, that's a part of our culture. We talked about systems, we talked about culture. Personal development is a part of our culture. That is just a part of the system. And we emphasize and we show people the importance of that, because here's the deal. Your income will seldomly exceed your personal development. Your income will seldomly exceed your level of growth. So guess what? You've got to go out there and grow as a person. So we provide a lot of personal development in the trainings that we do, the live trainings. We do trainings like we do a Super Saturday once a month where people come together nationwide and we do these trainings and we show people how to sell solar. We show people how to become better professionals. We do all kinds of personal growth. So again, remember we mentioned earlier, people stick around in a place where they feel that they're growing, right, in different areas of their life. Personal development, here's my recommendation. I tell my guys, you should be doing 30 minutes to an hour of personal growth a day, or 10 pages of a good book that is recommended by your organization every single day. The next one is promotions and recognition. You've got to have the promotions in your organization as a part of your compensation plan that is done evenly and fairly. It isn't because I know you or I know him. No, listen, if this is what you do, this is a promotion that you get. If this is what you do, this is a recognition that you get. There's an old saying that says, people will work for money, but people will die for recognition. People are dying to get recognized. As a leadership, from a leadership standpoint, you've got to recognize people for their hard work. You've got to recognize people for their efforts, right? So recognition and promotions should be done evenly and fairly across your organization. And finally, the last tip that I'm going to give you guys is you've got to have the proper training system in place. Now, notice I said training system. Most people have an information system. You've got to have the proper training system. Now, this is something that I learned from Brad Lee. Brad Lee and I have actually spoke at the on the same stages and whatnot a few times. And this is something that I learned from Brad Lee. And he says there's 4 keys to the proper training system. So here are the 4 keys. The first one is good content. You've got to train people on the right content, the stuff that's relevant today. You've got to put the people that train this information, that actually know what they're doing today, not people that did it 10 years ago. The next one is repetition. You know, I'm a martial artist. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I've been doing martial arts since I was 10, okay, and I'm now 39. And I train every single week, a couple times a week. And in martial arts, we have a saying. You've got to repeat. We say drillers are killers. Drillers are killers. A drill is when you do the same technique over and over and you do multiple drills. Like let's say jab, cross, hook, roundhouse kick. Jab, cross, hook, roundhouse kick, etc., etc. Drillers are killers. And then you ingrain that. That's a repetition where the mind forgets but the body remembers. The mind forgets, the body remembers. Why? Because of so much repetition. So much repetition. Somebody throws a jab and you catch the jab and you throw the hook automatically. You didn't even have to think about it. Your body just did it. Same thing with overcoming objections. You get the marbles out of your mouth. So you're training people with the good content. You add the repetition. The next step is you add role play. You've got to role play. Role play is kind of like a boxer or a martial artist when they're sparring. Iron sharpens iron. So you've got to role play. And then finally, the last step is you've got to have accountability. All right, guys, so I think I gave you guys some incredible, valuable information. This is some of the things that I dive into in detail when companies hire me to help them develop the systems and the compensation plans to help them scale, to help them stop being an ordinary company and become an extraordinary company. Again, I charge $1,000 an hour, minimum 10 hours. I don't even do that anymore because first of all, I just don't have a lot of time and I'd rather focus on building my company versus somebody else. But from time to time, I will do this favor for somebody where I'll, take them on as a client. But this is information that I've used to build some huge sales organizations. Currently today, as it stands today, I have the fastest growing organization in the #1 fastest growing solar company in the world. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. This is not information that I learned a long time ago. This is information that's happening right now. Right? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Driven Not Given podcast. Here's the deal. Here's the price for the podcast. You've got to like, comment, and share this video. If you got some fire, some value, and some fire from this episode, make sure that you guys like it, comment it, and subscribe. I'll see you guys at the top or from the top. Take care.